Hey everyone, welcome to MS Insight Launch Day. We're back with another interview, and I'm so excited to have Moyna John on today. Moyna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for those who are just joining us for, maybe this is your first interview that you've watched today, I'm Erica Anderson with MS Insight, and we are talking with doctors, patients, we're handing out resources. We're just sort of getting this MS Insight thing off the ground. And we are a patient advocacy organization started by a woman who has had MS for 22 years. And so she was just inspired to sort of help patients get some of the resources that she didn't feel like she was getting. And so we're reaching out to the community, and I'm so excited that I found you on Instagram, Moyna. You have such an encouraging profile. You're really helping create like a wonderful space online for people that are probably, I assume that when people get diagnosed, like, everyone's on Instagram, they're probably immediately looking for that community on social media. So it's so great that they would have found you. So let's get into your story a little bit. Tell us about who you are, where you live, and when you got your diagnosis.
Okay, well, first and foremost, I'm Moyna. I'm based in New York City. I was recently diagnosed this year, actually. So I started off 2020 getting diagnosed.
Oh, what a year.
Yeah, it was a great start. Great start. So I woke up one morning, literally, and in my right eye, from here down was blurry, from here up was clear. And I started freaking out because there's glaucoma that runs in our family. So the first thing I thought was something eye related. So I called my doctor. I let him know what's going on. It took about a week to get an appointment. And by the Sunday of that week, my appointment was there and all the symptoms went away. But he suggested that I go to a neurologist, check to see if my optic nerve is maybe swollen. That is kind of the nice way of saying you may have MS, but without formally saying it. So this was getting pretty close to Christmas in 2019. So it was within Thanksgiving to Christmas area. So it took a little while to get to a neurologist. In the interim, I started getting numb from the top of my toes, and it made it all the way to underneath my breasts by the time I made it to a neurologist. And given the symptoms I was listing, she said more than likely I had MS. So I had to get an MRI of the brain, C-spine, and T-spine. And once I did that, they said, that's it. Recommended I get a spinal tap. So I had to go to the hospital. And that was in the midst of COVID, but we didn't realize, we thought it was flu. And I'm thinking to myself, why are all these people in the hospital for the flu? This is when you go to, like a smaller location. You go to something outside the hospital. And I got admitted and they started steroids. And I met with the neurology team there, and they let me know that I have multiple sclerosis. And that was literally the first day of the year.
Oh my gosh, it's like in addition to the rest of this year, like that everyone has been experiencing, like you had this horrific thing. So were you familiar with it at all? And what went through your mind when you first heard the term multiple sclerosis?
I've heard of multiple sclerosis before, but no one I knew close had any kind of dealings with it. So when I heard it, the first thing I kind of thought of was like, oh my God, am I not going to walk soon? Because the first thing I think of is, walkers, trainers, the lack of mobility. So I was extremely fearful once I heard the term. But after doing some more research, I realized that no, it's not what it seems to be. I may not end up in a chair. I may. It depends on symptoms and all that. But it was definitely very scary at first. And I told my family, and they were like, we don't have MS in the family. Where did this mythical thing come from? So it was just very jarring at first. Once you hear the term, I feel like it's a lot scarier.
Do you find that friends and family don't know at all what it is? Because I feel like most people really aren't familiar with it.
I definitely feel that family and friends, excuse me, we're not very familiar with it. So it's been a lot of teaching now that I have taught myself about what MS looks like and feels like. So, and that's kind of what birthed my Instagram now is just kind of one, announcing to everyone outside of like close family and friends, like, hey, I have MS. This is what I'm doing. And then I was speaking to my partner and I said that I feel like I don't see much people with MS being, well, at least in the MS community, being depicted that looks like me. I don't see much, African-American, Latin stories of people having MS. And I'm like, how do I get that out there? And we discussed it, and I made my Instagram focused on MS advocacy. And I've just kind of been just pushing it since then.
That's really awesome. Have you heard from others, just like they feel like they're being supported now by your advocacy?
I've actually had a lot of people reach out because when I started, I was like, I'm pretty sure no one's gonna care about this. But I've had a lot of like positive, like, turnaround from this. A lot of people have reached out. They've said, hey, I think I may have this, or I just got diagnosed, or we'll talk about treatment options together because I'm starting my treatment probably within the next 2 weeks. I'll be taking Tysabra. So I've been kind of scared about that too. So I've been talking to other people that have said, oh, I've been doing it for a few months, or oh, I just started too. And it's been like a beautiful location where we all can just talk, and it's just, I'm glad that the platform is there for all of us to discuss, but it's been really
Yeah.
good so far.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you sort of touched on it, but what has the treatment plan for you been like so far?
Well, COVID definitely put a huge damper on everything. So
Yeah.
by the time I formally got diagnosed and I found a good neurologist and we started really working on stuff, that was about February. And then COVID really kind of hit us in March. So I did not feel comfortable going into the hospital to start IV treatment because I was on steroids. So
Mm-hmm.
probably almost every other month for a little while, I was going to get steroid treatments because I was having really bad flares and the numbness had still not left. And then sometimes I'd have another flare, that numbness comes back. So I haven't really made it to treatment until literally like about last week when I did
Mm.
a recent MRI and I saw, unfortunately, I have more lesions in the brain. So
Mm.
we decided that I need to start treatment aggressively. So that's where we are. And I need to sign paperwork so that I can start. So within the next 2 weeks, I should start treatment and everything should be better. But I've been feeling a lot better though. So I'll take that.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, it is really, something people probably haven't thought about a lot is just how COVID has affected people in the chronic pain or the disability community, because there's so much that goes into going to the doctor all the time and all the many things that you have to do when you have a condition, that COVID has really just taken that away from a lot of people, and I'm sure made it very hard, like regardless of the condition, to manage. Now, you said you've had a lot of flare-ups. We like to ask people, what are some of the things that you're able to do just at home to deal with some of that, whether it be like a positive mental state or yoga or just some kind of relaxation? Like, what are some things that you do?
So what I've been doing is if I'm dealing with numbness, I have compression socks that go all the way up to my knee, and I have compression gloves that, because those are the two locations that the numbness really hits the most, my hands and my lower legs. So I usually put those on first. I try to do yoga if I'm feeling really, really stiff or I'm getting a lot of discomfort. I've been trying to just kind of stay in an overall more positive mental space. So sometimes I'll meditate. I'm in my son's bedroom at the moment. This is where my little desk is
I see
for
those
work.
Mickey Mouse back
Yeah,
there.
all this Mickey Mouse festivities back here. So this is normally where I'll meditate because I'm able to close the door if my son will let me, and just kind of have a moment to just focus out and just try to remain positive. I'm not gonna lie, there's been a lot of negative days that I have to kind of
Yeah.
really pick myself up and say, we're not gonna stay in this space.
Hmm.
But for the most part, when I'm able to push through and say, look, this isn't the end of our lives. I know I'm only 29. I have a lot more life to live. I'll try to focus on meditation and yoga and just frankly just going outside. I really
Hmm.
feel like fresh air really does it for me. Just a nice walk
Yeah.
in the neighborhood. There's a park not far from me. I'll usually walk around it because I'm a little too skeevy to go inside right now.
Hmm.
And that has just really been helping.
Yeah, those are really great tips. What do you find for you is the hardest part of it on a daily basis?
I have to say the fatigue.
Hmm.
I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life, and my son is 3, and I still
Oh.
cannot even wrap my head around of how exhausted I am. Like I take melatonin to try to help me go to sleep because for a while I was dealing with a lot of insomnia on top of fatigue. So it was this weird, ironic space I was in that I'm exhausted but I can't sleep. So now
Hmm.
the melatonin has helped, but I still wake up
Hmm.
so tired. And I have a full day. I'm
Yeah.
still working.
Yeah,
My
that's
son.
hard.
It's a
Do you
lot.
work from home?
I work from home, yeah.
Okay,
So just
yeah.
trying to find the balance of
Yeah,
home life,
I
work
can
life.
I have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, so I can totally I can
Oh,
understand the energy that it takes
I
to
get
deal
it.
with a
You're more than
3-year-old.
I, so I get it.
Yeah, totally. Now, do you have any, I guess, role models or like books or positive spaces that you are sort of are go-tos for you when you're sort of feeling like you need to fill up?
I'm not reading at the moment, just frankly because I don't have the time. But I actually just kind of kind of derp around the internet and look for positive quotes, because that's always
Yeah.
kind of my thing. I just love a good quote.
Yeah.
So I'd either will save that for my Instagram, or I'll just kind of save that like on my Mac as something to just look at in the midst of working. Sometimes I need to pick me up, or I'll write stuff all over my desk. I have a little calendar here and I write quotes to look at for me to be like, you know what? I needed that. I needed to read that.
Yeah.
So I try to constantly keep quotes around me at all times, but I'm trying to get into books.
Yes. Well, I mean, hey, when you're working from home and you have a kid, reading is not exactly a priority.
Yeah, I got a book and my son was just ripping the pages out. And I'm like, all right, well, there goes that.
Totally. Well, and you said you've been reading a lot in terms of educating yourself about MS. So I was curious, like, you didn't know much about it when you started. Has anything surprised you, or what's something maybe you've learned that you could share with us that might be interesting?
I didn't realize like the plethora of symptoms there are. Like I really only thought of MS, I thought of lack of mobility and numbness. I didn't know about the fatigue. I didn't know about having bladder issues. I didn't know that certain foods will trigger it. Like I can no longer eat Chinese food. MSG gets me severely stiff. Yeah, I cannot touch Chinese food at all. Anything MSG related, I cannot eat. I didn't realize there was just so much vision issues, if I didn't just mention that. A lot of cognitive fog that I deal with a lot, and I still am trying to get my bearings with that, because it's hard to kind of almost do anything when I feel as if I can't speak properly. Like I was so grateful I woke up today with no cognitive fog, because this interview would have been really tough.
Yeah, I actually had that cross my mind. I thought, somebody, you could wake up and just not be feeling up for it.
Yeah.
And that would have been totally understandable. So, now, I just totally lost my train of thought. Sorry. It happens. It's live. It's a live video. See, we were talking about it and then I lost my train of thought. But no, I think that's so true, that everybody has, the symptoms can be such a range, and the way they affected everybody's different body is different. And so it's like you have a range of people, from those that you may not even realize have it to those that are in wheelchairs and things like that. And so, we want to talk to the whole of the community and talk about all of those things. Now, in terms of the mental fog you mentioned, and then the pain, do different medicines sort of address those different things, or does one sort of cover all of it, or do you know anything about that?
I know certain medicines cover certain things. For cognitive fog, when I spoke to my doctor, she said the really most important thing to aid that is a proper diet.
Interesting.
Eating, yeah. For MS, definitely what you put into your body really matters. Like,
okay.
No longer can I really, despite my size, fast food does not work for me at all. I have to be very particular about what I'm eating. I'm now transitioning to be gluten-free, which has, been a challenge.
Hard.
I actually now, it's like my body almost craves it now. Like if I go off for like a weekend and get festive and maybe eat something that I'm not supposed to, it may taste good in the interim, but the way I feel, in like an hour is crazy.
Yeah.
So I definitely recommend, if you're dealing with a lot of cognitive fog, to definitely try to eat more darker leafy greens. I'm never going to tell anyone to be gluten-free, but it's definitely very helpful.
Interesting.
Cutting the red meat definitely helps as well. If you are going to eat red meat, definitely make sure it's lean, very lean, like that. And vitamins have been helping me a lot, actually.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good. All of that is actually just really good in general, but good to know specifically for the MS condition. Okay, so you are very positive over on your Instagram account, which we love. What is sort of maybe your overarching message to others who come across your profile and are looking for support?
I think my overall message would probably be that I know this is scary no matter where you are in your journey, but you can do it. I know it seems horrifying at the thought of having something that you're going to have for the rest of your life, but you can power through. It's okay to be in dark moments. There's nothing wrong with that, because I know sometimes we feel like we have to be positive all the time. That's impossible. But don't stay there.
Right.
If you have those moments, have it, cry, let it out. Don't keep it in, because it only makes it worse. But let it out and understand you won't be in that space forever. And it does get better, which I hated when people said that to me, but it does get better, and it does get better.
And you are not even a full year into this journey. So I
Not at
think
all.
that for someone that maybe is watching, because I know someone earlier had commented they had just gotten diagnosed a couple of weeks ago. So I think that can be really encouraging for some of the really new people in the community.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Well, thank you, Moyna, for your time and for all of your positive words and encouragement. And we really appreciate it. And we hope to stay connected with you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.